Alright, so here's the thing that nobody really picked up on when this whole situation first came out. You didn't catch the genuine emotion, the raw frustration in his voice when he said that the UFC had asked Tom Aspinall to vacate the title until he was ready to go. Like, on the surface, it sounds like a standard business decision, right? But listen to what he actually said. Really listen. He made it crystal clear that he would absolutely be willing to vacate the title. But here's the kicker, as long as they were willing to meet his conditions, in that last part, that conditional phrase, that's where everything gets incredibly complicated and reveals so much more than just a simple belt negotiation.
It's so weird. Heavyweight division, heavyweight boxing, baddest man on the planet, just the scariest division known to man. And yeah, it's been weird the last few years. Like, the heavyweight divisions has kind of been not super exciting, not super interesting.
This situation runs so much deeper than just a fighter giving up a belt, and I need you to understand that from the beginning. What we're witnessing here is a strategic power play of the highest order, a raw emotional standoff that completely exposes the brutal underbelly of professional combat sports in a way we rarely get to see. We heard the truth come out finally. The UFC demanded that Tom Aspinall vacate his title. That's the official line, the business decision. But what you didn't hear, what they absolutely don't want you to fully grasp or think too deeply about, is the devastating counterpunch that came from Aspinall himself. His response was absolutely chilling when you really break it down. He said he would vacate, sure, but only if they released him from his contract entirely. Let that sink in for a second. This wasn't some meek surrender, some quiet acceptance of the organization's wishes. It was an act of pure defiance, a line drawn in the sand. It signals a deep fracture in the relationship, an emotional breaking point for a fighter who currently holds the interim heavyweight championship, which is supposed to be one of the most coveted positions in all of combat sports. Think about the heavyweight division. It's often hailed as the absolute pinnacle of combat sports, right? The home of the baddest man on the planet, the division everyone watches. But it has genuinely devolved into something that's honestly just weird, not super exciting, and frankly not super interesting anymore. And this isn't just about Aspinall's injury and his recovery timeline. It's about the deep-seated systemic issues within the promotion itself, all of which have been brought to a head by one man's integrity and his mounting desperation. The revelation of Aspinall's actual condition for vacating the belt, his outright demand for release from the organization, sent absolute shockwaves through the entire industry. This is unprecedented territory we're in. A heavyweight champion or interim champion, leveraging his title as a bargaining chip for freedom. That's not normal. But why would he do this? What could possibly push a fighter who's at the absolute peak of his career, who's climbed to the top of the mountain, to risk everything like this, to potentially walk away from the biggest stage in the world, the platform every fighter dreams of? The truth lies in the unseen battles, the wars that are fought far from the bright lights of the octagon, away from the cameras and the crowds. For years now, fans and analysts have debated the state of the heavyweight division endlessly. Legends like Daniel Cormier retired, leaving this massive void that nobody seemed able to fill. John Jones, arguably the greatest fighter of all time, a true generational talent, seems poised for a final bow, ready to ride off into the sunset. The division that once promised these gladiatorial titans, these larger-than-life figures, has genuinely struggled for consistent, compelling narratives that keep people invested. Tom Aspinall was supposed to be the answer to all of this, the dynamic force that would inject new life, new excitement, new energy into a stagnant weight class. His explosive rise through the ranks promised a return to the glory days, a new era of thrilling finishes and undisputed champions that fans could really get behind. Yet, even as the division yearns desperately for a consistent star, someone to carry the torch, the cold hard realities of the fight business rear their ugly head. The business side of fighting is absolutely unforgiving, a constant calculation of risk and reward, of value and leverage. And for Tom Aspinall, that calculation has clearly reached a critical juncture, one that's steeped in personal sacrifice and a profound sense of injustice that goes way beyond just sports. The stage was perfectly set for his reign, for him to take over and dominate the heavyweight division for years to come. But now, this shadow of uncertainty looms large, not just over his career and his future fights, but over the very future of the entire division he was meant to save.
DC retired, DC was fun, like, yeah, the division's just not that fun. I saw someone saying get rid of it or whatever, but it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before, like, just these stars start coming up. There's so many guys like me that are 265 that is just barely, you know what I mean? Big fuckers.
6'6".
6'6". It's gonna be fun.
It is going to be fun. We're going through a little hole, but what goes down will bounce off the fucking floor like a trampoline and go back up, so we're gonna get that shit poppin'. And then he can't drive his kids to school. He has 3 kids, one of his sons. And then someone echoes the sentiment that so many fans feel deep down. The heavyweight division is just not that fun anymore. It's a stark, brutal admission for a sport that's built its entire reputation on larger-than-life characters and explosive action. There's this hopeful prediction that new stars will emerge, that the division will bounce back, bouncing off the floor like a trampoline, finding new life. But then the conversation abruptly pivots to something so much more important, and it hits you like a freight train. This isn't just about the state of a division, or championship belts, or pay-per-view buys. It's about the devastating human cost that nobody wants to talk about. We learn this absolutely heartbreaking detail. Tom Aspinall can't drive his kids to school. Think about that for a second. He has 3 children, and one of his sons is autistic. This isn't just an injury that sidelines him from fighting. This is a man's life completely shattered. It's the immediate visceral impact on a father, on a husband trying to hold his family together. This isn't a business decision you can put on a spreadsheet. It's a family crisis unfolding in real time. The problems in the division suddenly feel completely insignificant, almost trivial, against the backdrop of a fighter's private agony. His emotional speech isn't just words you can dismiss or analyze. It's the quiet desperation of a man whose career has directly threatened his ability to be present for his most vulnerable child. Imagine the emotional weight of that revelation, the crushing pressure of it, the gladiator, the interim champion, the fighter everyone looks up to, reduced to a man unable to perform the most basic, cherished fatherly duty of taking his son to school. For a child with autism, routine is absolutely paramount. It's everything. It's the framework of their entire world, a source of comfort and predictability that helps them navigate each day. When that framework is violently disrupted, when dad can't be there for the school run anymore, consequences can be absolutely profound, not just for the child, but for the entire family unit trying to maintain some sense of normalcy. Tom Aspinall isn't just recovering from an injury in some training facility. He's grappling with the emotional fallout of disrupting his son's essential stability, the guilt and pain of that. This adds an entirely new dimension to what it means for him to be losing it. It's not just frustration with the UFC or anger about his career. It's the deep primal fear of failing his family, of not being there when they need him most. It's the fear that's far more potent, far more terrifying than any opponent he could ever face in the octagon. Every choice he makes now, every medical decision, every grueling rehabilitation session, every conversation with the UFC, it's all filtered through this lens of paternal responsibility. The pressure he feels isn't just from fans demanding his return or promoters wanting him to fight. It's internal, a constant battle between his identity as a fighter and his unwavering duty as a father who needs to be there for his children. This is the hidden truth behind all the headlines and the Twitter debates. The human sacrifice that gets made in the pursuit of glory and championship belts, and the often unseen emotional collateral damage that no championship belt can ever truly compensate for or make right. It's a stark reminder that beneath the warrior exterior, beneath the muscles and the fighting skills, beats the heart of a father who's vulnerable and fiercely protective of his family's schedule.
Routines, very important. It's all been taken away from him.
That's good. Yeah, he had double eye surgery, got fucking poked in that last fight.
I remember that. I didn't know it was both. I thought it was just one, but
dude, that's what's so scary about the sport and shit like that happens. It's like, I gotta get in the octagon. Like, I fought Song last fight. Song, I poked Henry. Henry's eyes were fucked up for a while. Like, dude, it's scary. You don't. It's this.
What truly hammers home the critical importance of schedules and routines is understanding how it's all been ripped away from his family. This isn't merely inconvenient or a minor hassle you can adapt to. It's absolutely devastating for a household that's managing the complexities of autism, where every disruption can trigger major setbacks. Then the conversation brutally pivots to the physical toll he's endured, and it's horrifying. Tom Aspinall had to undergo double eye surgery because he got poked in his last fight. The casual, almost matter-of-fact way this brutal reality is delivered actually underscores just how widespread and severe this problem is in the sport. This isn't just an unfortunate accident that happened once. It's a recurring nightmare for fighters across all divisions. The vivid memory of Henry Cejudo's eyes, how messed up they were from an eye poke, drives home the long-term career-threatening nature of such injuries. This isn't a minor setback where you take a few weeks off and come back. It's a potential life sentence of impaired vision, a constant reminder every single day of the inherent dangers of this sport. The scariness of the sport isn't some abstract concept for Tom Aspinall anymore. It's a daily reality he lives with, impacting his ability to see clearly, to function normally, to provide for his family, and fundamentally to maintain the routines his son desperately needs to thrive. This emotional and physical trauma is the true cost of holding that belt, the price that doesn't show up in the contract. The physical brutality of MMA is well documented. We all see the knockouts and the blood. But the psychological toll of such injuries, especially to something as vital as your sight, is often completely underestimated by fans, and even by the organizations. For a fighter, vision isn't just about seeing what's in front of you. It's about reaction time, distance management, the ability to detect incoming threats in your peripheral vision. It's everything. A double eye injury doesn't just impact his physical recovery timeline. It invades his mental space, planting seeds of doubt and fear that are incredibly hard to overcome. Every flash of light, every blur in his vision becomes a terrifying reminder of what he's already endured and what he could lose permanently if something goes wrong again. The return to sparring, the very act of preparing for combat, becomes an act of immense psychological bravery, or perhaps desperation depending on how you look at it. Can he trust his eyes to work properly under pressure? Can he trust his opponents, his training partners, not to accidentally or even intentionally repeat the trauma? The mental game in MMA is often as critical as the physical conditioning, and a fighter returning from such a severe vision impacting injury faces a formidable opponent in their own mind that nobody else can see. The emotional battle here isn't loud or dramatic. It's the internal monologue of a man weighing his passion for fighting against his health, his career against his family's future, and his deepest desires against the terrifying reality of potential permanent damage. It's a silent scream against the unfairness of it all.
I don't even know what to say. That sucks, man. Sure, because he's a little bit older too. It's not like he's got like a ton more years. He's dealing with this, and then so you got to get back to sparring. And then how do you still have the same, the same
mentality?
Mentality. That's tough. I mean, they want him to vacate the belt, which I get. He said he'll vacate if they release him.
Now this is where things get fascinating. Someone brings up the supplement Magic Mind. But more importantly, the speaker starts questioning Tom Aspinall's age, highlighting that he's a little bit older too, not some 22-year-old prospect. This isn't merely about physical recovery from injuries, it's about the finite window of a fighter's career, the brutal reality that time is running out. How do you still have the same mentality after everything you've been through? This is the core psychological question everyone's asking. Can a man after double eye surgery, with a family depending on him for everything, return to the octagon with the same ruthless hunger, the same fearless abandon that got him to the top? This is the invisible battle every elite athlete faces, but nobody talks about it. And then the hammer drops with full force. They want him to vacate the belt, which on some level makes sense from a business perspective. But immediately, the shocking condition resurfaces, the one that changes everything. He said he'll do it if they release him from his contract. This isn't a polite request or a negotiation tactic. It's a demand, a line in the sand. It's a fighter who's been stripped of his ability to perform at the highest level, yet still holding immense leverage because of that belt. The mental anguish of vacating the title is compounded exponentially by the explicit threat of being held captive by a contract that could prevent him from earning a living elsewhere. This isn't just about a belt made of leather and gold. It's about control, freedom, and the emotional battle for his future and his family's security. This segment unveils a critical layer of power dynamics within the UFC that most fans never see or understand. The implied pressure to vacate, coupled with the fighter's demand for release, paints a stark picture of a relationship under extreme duress, maybe beyond repair. What does it actually mean for a promotion to want its interim champion to step aside? It signals a desire for a clean slate, a preference for active, visible champions who can fight and promote, but for Tom Aspinall, the belt isn't just a physical object you wear around your waist. It's a symbol of his hard-won achievement, a testament to his dominance to everything he sacrificed. To relinquish it, even temporarily, is to concede ground to lose a piece of his hard-earned identity and everything he's worked for. And the counter-demand for release, that's the ultimate power move in a negotiation, the nuclear option. It's Tom Aspinall essentially saying, if you won't support my recovery and respect my position, then let me go find a path that does. Find an organization that values me. This isn't just about potentially going to boxing or another MMA promotion. It's about seeking autonomy, about refusing to be dictated to when his career and his family are literally on the line. The mental fortitude required to make such a stand, knowing the potential repercussions from a notoriously powerful organization like the UFC, speaks volumes about the emotional turmoil and conviction driving Tom Aspinall's decisions. It's a high-stakes gamble with his entire future, driven by a deep sense of self-worth and a demand for fair treatment.
Go box? Like who? I mean, do people have interest in seeing Tom versus like maybe Francis or something like that? But it's like, man, just you don't want to get on the UFC's bad side. Not that he is. I don't mean it sounds like they're going through it, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, he's made some comments I seen on whatever he posts on that they don't give a shit about him and all that stuff.
Oh man, and then the implications of Tom Aspinall seeking release become immediately clear. The potential move to boxing, which everyone starts speculating about, but the speaker quickly dismisses it as an easy path, questioning whether there would even be real interest in Tom versus Francis Ngannou outside of the UFC's massive promotional machine. This highlights the inherent power of the UFC brand in a way that's hard to ignore. No fighter, no matter how talented or how big their name is, wants to get on the UFC's bad side. It starts warning, a testament to the promotion's absolute dominance in the sport. And then the true emotional speech surfaces, the raw, unfiltered sentiment that aligns perfectly with everything we've been building to. Tom Aspinall, through his public comments, reveals that he genuinely believes they don't give a shit about him as a person. This is the ultimate betrayal for an athlete who dedicates his entire life, his body, his family's stability to the sport he loves. It's not just a complaint you can brush off, it's an accusation of profound disrespect, an emotional cry from a champion feeling completely abandoned by the organization he's bled for. This single statement exposes the deep rift, the total loss of trust, and the genuine sense of being undervalued despite everything he's accomplished. This is Tom Aspinall truly losing it, not in some fit of rage or throwing things, but in a quiet, damning indictment of the system he's fought so hard to conquer. Tom Aspinall's candid belief that the UFC don't give a shit about him is the emotional core of this entire saga, the beating heart of the story. It strips away the veneer of professional sports and reveals the raw human element underneath. For any athlete, feeling valued by their employer, especially one for whom they bleed and sacrifice their health, is absolutely fundamental to their well-being. When that trust is shattered, when the perception becomes that you are merely a cog in a much larger machine that will replace you the moment you're not useful, the emotional toll can be absolutely immense. This isn't just about money or contract clauses, it's about recognition, respect, and the basic human desire for empathy and understanding. Tom Aspinall's comments are a public outcry, a desperate plea for understanding amidst a challenging personal and professional crisis that's tearing him apart. It raises fundamental questions about fighter welfare, about contract clauses that bind fighters, and about the moral obligations of a global sports empire that generates billions. His stand demanding release and then publicly articulating his feelings of neglect isn't just an emotional moment you can dismiss. It's a strategic move, whether intentional or not. He is leveraging his pain, his family struggle, and his status as champion to force a conversation, to assert his agency in a system that often seems designed to suppress individual voices and maintain control. The future of the heavyweight division now hangs precariously in the balance, not just because of an injury that will heal eventually, but because of a champion's courageous emotional demand for dignity and respect. The story of Tom Aspinall is a powerful testament to the human spirit, battling not only opponents in the cage, but the very system designed to control his destiny and dictate the terms of his career and his life.